Time, sex, and jazz, we must be talking about Jack Kerouac today. Hi guys, it's Erica, and today I'm going to be reviewing On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I miss that academic feeling, so today I'm going to review this for you and try to reclaim my academic English major status. Let's try it. Jack Kerouac wrote this in 1951. His two main characters are Sal Paradise and Dean Moriarty. Sal Paradise is a mirror of Jack Kerouac, and Dean Moriarty is a mirror of Neil Cassidy, his best friend in real life. This Beat Generation, they partied hard. They loved their alcohol, tobacco, and women, and they also did not like to abide to any sort of structure. So law-abiding citizens, not so much. The main thing that I took from this novel is this is a novel about time. At the beginning of the book, we come in on Sal's life at the end of a season where he's going through a divorce and now he's disillusioned. He needs someone else. He needs a purpose. He needs a cause. And he finds this in Dean Moriarty, his Christ-like figure that loves explosive moments of life. And so Sal is a meteoric observer where he even says that the ones for him are the mad ones, the ones that shoot across the sky and explode and you look up at them and you go, ah, those are the people for him. So he becomes an observer of those people, except he takes it probably one step further in the fact that he's more of a carpe diem and he's going to actually go with them. For us in 2015, we're kind of lame because we do observe people's meteoric moments online and we see the great moments of their lives, but we don't actually get to, experience them with them. So that's kind of the cool thing about this book is that Jack Kerouac was able to go on the road with his friends and raise some hell for sure. This generation just really wanted to capture the next huge experience, that high. One way that they do it is they do go clubbing and they love the jazz scene. And so they seek out these jazz gods and they follow them all around the country because those are the moments when they feel like really orgasmic experiences. It's really interesting because there are many people that say that jazz is the most interactive musical experience between musician and audience. It can be a union of sorts. It's almost like a divine interaction with them where they're on a higher spiritual plane, and those planes are very similar to the same planes that you reach during sexual intercourse. Sal often calls Dean Moriarty like the pulsating, ticking clock of the Beat Generation. Dean is also the pulsating clock for Sal because he's constantly reminding him that we need to seize this day, seize this moment. They're driving through Mexico in one scene and Sal's asleep and Dean wakes him up and says, "You must see this." Dean is even pulsating maybe for the readers and the fact that he's reminding us constantly that we don't even need to sleep. That's how extreme they were. Kerouac even took this further in his life and became a student of Buddhism and spiritualism. I don't know how much it helped him because he was so addicted to alcohol by this moment that he died in his early 40s of severe liver poisoning. It's a horrible alcoholic death. He's trying to find some spiritual enlightenment, and he thought he could through these moments, these it factors that we all try to seize. Let's talk about disillusionment because that's always so fun. You have to have a return to structured time in society. You can't always be high. You have to have a deflation. You always have to come down from that. The grass is not always greener type of effect. For Dean, he can't even really have relationships with Sal, best friend. And he sure tries to capture them through sex. And there is even a taboo mention of a threesome, which was very shocking to the 1950s generation that Kerouac brought this up. But he was even trying to find some sort of connection almost through a homoeroticness too. For Sal, the sex is no longer satisfying, the jazz is no longer loud enough, and Dean eventually abandons him in Mexico. And that is when he becomes completely disillusioned with the life that he has been living and constantly being on the road and constantly being high in his body and his mind. One of the really interesting scenes with Sal's disillusionment is he finds a girl and they spend the night together. As she's leaving, he asks her if they would like to cuddle. And I thought that scene was really funny because he's so desperate for human interaction and connection. Even these experiences have become so dissatisfying to him, and all he wants is just to connect and to feel a part of something. And so I think that this is an interesting cautionary tale. We need to be careful on what we think is a big experience and remember that it might be the small interactions and the connections between people's hearts that are important. Taking this concept out of the book and applying it back to Jack Kerouac, this book really exposes his fear of time and its effects. But in the simple act of being a writer, he kind of is able to stick it to time, and we love it. And it brought around different movements. The women in this novel are treated terribly if you're a feminist. This novel might be really, really hard for you. Their time came later, like in the 60s when that movement came about. These men were coming down from going to war and being that generation. So we really sealed up a time that was really interesting in literary history, where it was trying to reclaim a feeling of immortality, and I would even say masculinity, because there was a whole lot of like impotence and feeling dissatisfied. As a person that was so afraid of time, just in the fact that he was a writer, he kind of beat up time a little bit. It's very cool. Jack Kerouac's On the Road has been a book that I think about often, and I loved reading it and I loved exploring it. So maybe you should give it a try, and I will talk to you all really soon. Bye.